All right, look, is it going to be a barn burner? Is it going to be a dud? Is it going to be a snooze fest? I mean, are we like hyping this thing up to this incredible level and then we're going to be incredibly let down, disappointed? I don't know. I mean, look at Mayweather Pacquiao. That was like the biggest dud in boxing history. Or Hagler Hearns. Look, here's the thing. Boxing has a way of repeating itself, just like any history. History always repeats itself, and boxing is no exception. Okay, so I do believe it's going to be a better fight than the original fight. Okay, much better. I'd say on a 1 to 10, the original was maybe a 7, and I think this one could be an 8 or a 9. Okay, so I'm incredibly excited. But look, today, happy Sunday, by the way. Welcome everyone. If you're new to the channel, do whatever the other channels beg you to do. I'm not going to do it, but the channel's growing, so thank you. But, Gennady Golovkin opened up, and I like whenever there is an interpreter, because that way he can open up and he can, really articulate what he's trying to say. Instead of like 2 and 3 word, sentences, he can open up and say yes and elaborate and go into great detail, and that's what we have here today. And I've heard similar comments out of Gennady Golovkin, but not like this. There seems to me there's a demeanor change. Okay, there's a shift in behavior. Okay, it's like a new persona, kind of like when Mayweather went from Pretty Boy Floyd to Money Mayweather. It seems like now Gennady Golovkin is evolving into who he really is. And if you go back and watch his homeland interviews, he's a lot more aggressive at home when he's talking in his native tongue, around his countrymen and things like that. So I think that's kind of rollover. And truthfully, I think he's sick of all the bullshit. I think he's finally, he's just opening up, put away the act, the nice guy act, which I don't think it's an act. But I think he's just had enough of the whole Canelo situation. And, I can tell by the comments. So let me read you a few of the comments, and you tell me what you think. Because like I said, to me, it's bold, it's honest, it's open, it's genuine, it's from the heart. And I like it. That's what I like to see. And there's a few, okay, but this is for you YouTubers out there. Gennady Golovkin spoke with media on Saturday, MGM Grand, during the solo promotional trip. Basically, he was at a UFC event and did a bunch of interviews, and so there's a lot of good information out there. But you have to go to like the MMA and the UFC channels to get it. So if you want to get some good interviews from Gennady Golovkin, go check it out. But right here, while the 27-year-old Alvarez has remained quiet, Golovkin can't stop talking to anyone who will listen about his displeasure and distrust for Alvarez, okay? I mean, look, these words, they weren't thrown around in the beginning. In the original fight, it was all buddy-buddy, handshake, that kind of thing. Now, Golovkin is throwing around words like distrust, dishonesty, revenge, anger, all these, negative words, which, I think is going to make for a great fight. But it says, not just in the fallout of the failed drug test, but during the contentious negotiations for the rematch in recent months that saw Golovkin stand firm multiple times regarding his split. Okay, even if basically risking the fight falling apart, and we did. Gennady Golovkin, he basically he stood his ground, and thank God it worked out the way it did. I think it showed, and really, look, here's the thing. I know a lot of people were kind of, upset with Golovkin for that, but I mean, look, that showed Golden Boy Promotion and Canelo, like, look, you're not going to, run it. We're not a doormat. You're not going to bully us. You're not going to run us over. And, and I think it got in their head, and I think it kind of put them in their place is what I think. Okay, now, whenever I read this comment here, I thought about, like, when you're watching like the news and like these criminals are covering up their heads with their shirts, like the cameras are like, oh, why'd you do it? Why'd you do it? Why'd you kill him? Why'd you do it? Why'd you rob her or whatever? And they're like, no comment, no comment, no comment. They're covering up their head. Well, right now, Canelo is basically covering up his head. Okay. This is why we don't have a press event. This is why there is no media tour, because Canelo, he doesn't want to get in the hot seat. Okay. He doesn't want to be put on trial by you, by the people, by the public, because he will be found guilty. Okay. Seriously. I mean, I thought about it. I was like, I was pissed because I wanted to go and cover it as press. I'm like, why aren't they having any kind of media event Well, plain and simple, Canelo doesn't want to face the music. Okay, that is why. Now, Gennady Golovkin, he articulates it quite well. He says he understands the situation he's in right now and doesn't want to feel the pressure from people watching because he is not stupid. Okay, Golovkin said through a Russian interpreter. He will face uncomfortable questions from people and doesn't have the courage to look the truth in the face and answer the question. Oh, damn. Damn, Triple G. Damn. I mean, that burn, you know, look, the truth hurts. You know, here's the thing. I mean, you know, there's a lot of truth that's being like swept under the rug. Okay. You know, and the truth hurts. I mean, I don't like facing my own truth. I mean, you know, I do it every day. I got to look in the mirror and say, who are you? What are you doing? Why are you doing it? Where are you going? What are your goals? What are your plans? Well, you know, what's your future? What the fuck are you doing? You know, it's the truth. Like, you have to face the truth. And Canelo does not want to face the truth. And Gennady Golovkin says he doesn't have the courage. Okay. And Canelo lacks courage. Okay. Hell of a fighter, hell of a boxer. You know, just all that. Okay, I do respect Canelo. I mean, it's depleting quickly with the clenbuterol and things like that, but you know, I respect anyone that has the courage to live up to what they did. You know, own up to your mistakes, right? You know, I mean, face the consequences, face the repercussions, be a man. That's what I want to see Canelo do. And what Gennady Golovkin is talking about right here, he says he will face uncomfortable questions from people and doesn't have the courage to look the truth in the face and answer the questions. Maybe it's all for the better, so people will have a better fight and enjoy. Okay, I mean, very wise words from Gennady Golovkin. All right, and I believe, like I said, I believe it. You know, right now Canelo, his head is hanging low in shame. You know, and he knows he's guilty. He knows what he did, and in a way, I kind of feel sorry for the dude because you know there's like a tremendous amount of pressure on him. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, okay, let's use the cliche at the end of the day, the cliche, end of the day. At the end of the day, it's boxing. Okay, it's not life or death. You lose, you know, you win, you lose, you win, you know, win, lose, draw, whatever. You know, you're going to go home to your beautiful wife, to your big mansion, to all your nice cars and your lovely life and all that. And the sun will rise tomorrow. You know, but I think the pressure that is put on, you know, fighters like Canelo, he has a country behind him that's depending on him, relying on him. You know, it's got to be overwhelming. I mean, even when I was boxing at just a petty little amateur level, when I had my family there, 3 or 4 or 5, 10 people, that pressure alone was incredible. So I couldn't imagine. So, you know, I do understand why some of these guys are driven to take steroids, and to me, you know, also it shows just an incredible lack of confidence. Like, he doesn't believe in himself. Therefore, he needs, you know, he needs drugs. He needs an edge, you know, a competitive edge, an advantage. And that's what he did. And Gennady Golovkin is saying, look, he can't face it because if, you know, they had one press event so far. Remember, they did it live on Facebook. And what was question number 1 out of the bat? Boom, question number 1. Canelo Alvarez, they hit him with the clenbuterol question. I mean, question number 1. And you could just feel the uncomfortableness in the room. Everyone was getting tight and uncomfortable and looking left, looking right, you know, shifty eyes, you know, and you could just feel, it's like, man, and they were thinking like, well, this is exactly why we're not doing this, because we don't want to be hit with these kinds of questions. So, you know, that's the truth, okay? Truth hurts. But now, let's move on. Oh, shit. Let's move on. Okay. The turn in personality has been surprising for Golovkin, who has spent the last 6 years since an American debut smiling at everyone, you know, turned with a happy-go-lucky persona that perfectly belies the killer mentality he shows inside the ring as one of the sport's most feared knockout artists. They're talking about, you know, his shift in personality lately, that and he has. I mean, like I said, his whole demeanor has completely changed, but I think for the better. Now, among Gennady Golovkin's many catchphrases over the years was the broken English turn of respect the box. And it's become clear through the intensity of his words how much it bothers Golovkin that Alvarez doesn't show the sport the same respect. I'm laughing at my dog. Sorry. She's in her bed right now, like upside down. Her head's like hanging over. Anyway, but yeah, he's saying that You know, I don't know what the fuck you're saying. Let's move on. My dog sidetracked me. Now, this is something I wanted to... Okay, speaking of respect, Golovkin admits that he gave too much of it to Alvarez during their first meeting last September. And, you know, I wanted that answer, or that question answered. I wanted to know, like, Gennady Golovkin, did you show Canelo too much respect? Because in the past, he kind of danced around that question, but he says, you know, he said he did. He said, yeah, he said, let's see, most felt Gennady Golovkin done well enough to win a split decision. Minor criticism has endured for not stepping on the gas pedal more when he had Alvarez repeatedly cornered in the middle rounds. And that is my criticism for Gennady Golovkin. You know, go for broke, man. I mean, I didn't see that sense of urgency out of Gennady Golovkin. Now, Golovkin and his trainer, Abel Sanchez, have also repeatedly called Alvarez for running in the first bout and refusing to exchange for long periods to close range in the Mexican style that Gennady Golovkin openly employs. For the rematch, Golovkin is hoping to do everything in his power to keep the judges away from affecting the outcome, meaning, you know, he's going for the knockout, and he should, as he should. Now, remember, in the original fight, Abel Sanchez said if it goes to the judges, if we get robbed, whatever, it's, you know, we blame ourselves. We can't blame, we know, look, we know boxing is corrupt, and... you know, we can blame ourselves. I mean, and I don't know. Did they though? I guess, I don't know. I think they did. I think they accepted the outcome, but it was just, look, that 118, that Adelaide Bird was just so ridiculous. They had to speak up, you know, because Abel Sanchez said, like he said, we're not gonna, you know, bitch, moan, and complain if we lose on a decision. We lose, but then again, they are complaining, but I don't think anyone could predict that outcome, right? It was just such a robbery, just a blatant robbery, that they had to speak up. So, you know, I don't know. You know, yeah, because a lot of people accuse Abel of contradicting himself, you know, talking out of both sides of his mouth. He'll say one thing and do another, but I understand in this situation. I do. Now, Canelo fires dark warning to Golovkin, promises no more, I don't know how to, cordiality? He's not going to be cordial anymore. Okay, I'm not too bright, people. Gotta excuse me. Now, they asked Golovkin, you know, about Canelo. He says, I don't think much about him, Golovkin said. I think he has lost a lot of respect. I'm still very surprised at people who support him and support his team. After all of this has happened, I myself don't much care. Now, this is like to me, I think one of the realest things he says, okay? I don't know if it's drugs or what the commission said is not legal. He is a smart guy. He knows he is at fault, okay? He is a smart guy. He knows he is at fault. That's why I lost respect for him. Of course, we look at him different now because of what has happened from his doping and drugs. There have been a lot of damage for boxing itself, and it's really something bad, okay? And he goes on further later on, I might read it, where he's basically saying, well, you know, why is Canelo with the team that basically, you know, sabotaged his career? You know, why wasn't a chef fired? Why wasn't a planner or a manager? Like, you know, why didn't they hold anyone accountable other than saying contaminated beef, oh, you know, but no one was held accountable. You know, look, if you're running a multi-million-dollar training camp, and when I say multi, we're talking 40, 50 million on the line, someone's got to be held accountable, and there was no accountability on Team Canelo. It was just contaminated beef, you know? It's like that song, you know, it wasn't me, you know, that's it. You know, it's like your girl catches you cheating on her, hey, it wasn't me, you know? That's it. But it's that arrogance that we talk about. It's that arrogance that you know, when you're above the law, like you have this like celebrity status and you're above, you know, answering questions, and you can just do what you want to do. You can you know, manufacture your own surroundings like Canelo has done, you know, no press tour. Why? Because I don't want to answer questions, you know. So, you know, I mean, I think maybe one day I'll make an entire video and explain to you what I like and what I don't like about Canelo, because I think a lot of you guys get the wrong idea, like that I'm hating on him, but I'm not, because I could easily give you, you know, the same amount of criticism for Gennady Golovkin, and I have in the past. So, but anyway, moving on. Son of a bitch. Let me find it. Right here. This is different, but okay, we'll go here. We know each other better now, so the second fight will be much more interesting, Golovkin said. He was able to run around the first fight, but we will make it a little more difficult the second time. Now, I like that, but let me continue reading. I'll give you my thoughts. It's going to be a long day, people. I feel like talking. Sorry if you're still here. Thank you. If not, whatever. Golovkin admits he has learned his lesson regarding Alvarez's character and mentioned on multiple occasions his surprise about how the Nevada Commission handled suspicions he shared regarding Alvarez's body before the first fight. And he's talking about the needle marks. He's talking about how Canelo had the needle marks. He brought that up too. He's like, hey, I'm not just going to keep quiet, right? I mean, if you're going to fight a guy and you notice there's obviously like injection points, you're going to speak up and say something, right? I mean, right? I mean, I don't know. Maybe you wouldn't. Maybe maybe you wouldn't, because the criticism was, well, why would he speak up? Like Stephen A. Smith said, well, why would Golovkin say anything? Because he's going to sabotage the fight, right? So but I don't know. I think Golovkin, is an honest dude, and he's willing to, sacrifice $40 million payday to tell the truth, so that's what I think. Now, in the rematch, I'm wondering in the rematch, what's going to happen, right? I mean, I keep thinking I'm really, really excited about it, but, Golovkin never been hurt, never been wobbled, never been down. Canelo, never been seriously hurt. But I'm thinking in this, there's no way it can be a boring fight. If it is, I will probably shut this channel down because I'm done with boxing. I'm done with it. So, I mean, I hope and I pray that they deliver. And I truly think, I'm not going to do really like an official prediction yet, but I'm leaning towards a stoppage. I think Golovkin is going to stop Canelo, is what I think. It might be controversial. I don't know. Maybe the referee will jump in early. I don't know, but I do believe, and like Oscar told me to my face, they want a trilogy. Okay, to my face, he told me this a year ago, and I brought it to you guys, and everyone's like, oh, there's not even going to be a rematch. There's definitely not going to be a trilogy. There will be a trilogy. I'm telling you now. There will be a Canelo Golovkin trilogy, because something is going to happen in the rematch. Who knows? Maybe Golovkin gets clipped and gets knocked out. Like, something will happen. And if that happened, Canelo's going to think, well, hey, I can easily beat him again. Boom, let's get another $40 million payday. Trilogy, right? Or Canelo gets flattened, gets embarrassed, gets knocked out. And again, it's like every outcome, in my mind, every outcome leads to a trilogy, like a Pacquiao Marquez, or, even a Morales, It's just, you want to see it again. There's too many questions unanswered, that kind of thing. But, it would have to happen pretty soon. Although we just witnessed a 39-year-old Pacquiao look like a 29-year-old Pacquiao. So, boxing is crazy, but Golovkin is getting up there in age. So it would need to happen soon. But, guys, I'll probably leave it at that. I could literally babble on for another hour. A couple comments here by Canelo. Let me read these real quick. He says, Canelo Alvarez, Gennady Golovkin will eat all of his words after I prove with my fist that I am the best. Okay, and in other comments, he's talking about, ripping his head off. And so, I don't know. Look, these guys better deliver. That's all I can say. And I will buy the pay-per-view. I will, more than happy to support boxing when it should be supported, and you guys should too. I mean, and I do want to, give Canelo credit for taking the rematch, because I thought when he got busted with the clenbuterol and all that, I thought he's going to bail. There's no way. It's done. It's not going to happen. And then it did happen. And also, I want to point out right now, if you go to BoxRec, he's suspended, meaning he shouldn't even be training right now, because remember, if you are suspended, if that is your legal status in boxing, you're not allowed to engage in a training camp. So how is Canelo, legally training right now if he's, under a suspension that doesn't lift until August? It's another question that I was wondering. Anyways, leave it below. What do you think? I'm babbling. Leave it below.